For some reason, not having anywhere to go this morning to sort of really put me behind. It was quite bizarre, really quite bizarre. But anyway, I'm here now, just bearing with me while I make sure my stream is live. Yeah, it looks like it, and my volume is good, so that's good, so we can get started. Yes, we had a snap lockdown here in southern Tasmania, or Hobart, where I live, basically due to a case of COVID being picked up in a gentleman that escaped quarantine. So there'll be a big inquiry about that. But anyway, hopefully 3 days, touch wood. It's just 3 days and we can all get back to normal. Anyway, so thank you, as I say, thank you very much for joining me. Today I'm going to be having my first play with the Eden's Garden collection. Now this is actually a sneak peek of a set that will be available in the next, the 20 January to July 2022. Oh my goodness, is it nearly that time? Mini catalogue. So the stamp set and the dies will be available to everybody next year, but it is actually available to customers just as a collection from the 2nd of November. And when I say collection, it's got some beautiful add-ons that you can buy, and these add-ons are while stocks last. And at the moment, when they say while stocks last, it means don't muck around, because with delivery delays, they tend to estimate how much they are going to need, and that generally ends up being not enough. So if you like what you see today, mark the 2nd of November in your diary and make sure you pop an order in. So the paper is lovely. It's the colours are so succulent, evening evergreen, and with a touch of gold. So there's some lovely double-sided images there. We're going to be using it today. I haven't actually worked out which one of these I'm going to be using on my cards. As I say, I've just opened the pack this morning. I sort of had a vague idea of what I was going to do today, but for some reason, trying to get organised to go into lockdown today, I didn't get much done past some swap cards. But there's some lovely papers there, some beautiful evening evergreen and gold. The gold is lovely. I like this one. I've seen this one used a bit. I quite like that. We might use that one today. But anyway, as I say, there are some beautiful papers there. And interestingly, there is also what they're calling cotton paper. Cotton paper. And this is also in soft succulent and evening evergreen. I'll just grab one out, and I'm hoping to include this in one of my designs today. I'm not quite sure. I'll see where the news takes me. When you first take it out of the pack, it looks like tissue paper. It is very, very, as you can see, very, very, I'll just stop moving for a minute because I think I've lost my focus. I might not be able to. I'll just let my computer catch up with me. Go in a bit and come down. Hopefully it'll catch up. Sorry if I've lost all my focus there. But anyway, this cotton paper, initially you think it's like tissue paper, but it is actually quite, I was worried that it would be see-through, but it is quite solid in colour. So hopefully I'll be able to use that today as well. Just want to let it looks like, yep, I've caught up. Sorry about that blurriness, guys, but it's focusing now. Okay, so I'm going to do a card in line with my little group swap sketch today. Yesterday, the only thing I actually did do yesterday was create some swaps for my little card making group. And what we did was we followed a sketch rather than using specific products or specific occasion. We just basically we're all following a sketch. So I used some of my favourite retired or retiring products to follow the sketch, and I've created 6 designs there for my little team swap. I've done a couple of each. So you might recognise, if you've been around for a while, you might recognise some old favourites. There's the tropical paper from a couple of years ago, the beautiful magnolias from last year, I think, the beautiful I think it was Parisian bundle on this right hand one here, the hydrangeas from last year. Still my favourite, and I guard it jealously. The honeybee from a couple of years ago now. Whoever gets this one, you think in my group swap, you should treasure it because it is my favourite. And of course our beautiful blueberries from, I think, was Celebration last year as well. So I thought what I'd do is, since I basically designed 6 with that one sketch, it was actually a sketch challenge, that one design, I thought probably I'd just continue the fun and do a similar design for today. Okay, so I'm going to be using the Eden's Garden and the dies and the paper, and maybe the cotton paper, I'm not quite sure, and create a card to follow that sketch. So I've cut some pieces of paper up. Oh, what did I just do? I did my mouse. I don't want that. Sorry, I've got my mouse here to my right hand side and it's sitting under a pile of my paper, and I just clicked it. Okay, so the card base is Evening Evergreen, obviously, because that's one of the feature colours of the bundle. Then you have the sketch basically is, and if you can see Evening Evergreen on Evergreen, the card design is you have a card base, then you have a strip of something that goes vertically, and then you have another strip that goes horizontally, and then the design has a square in this place, in that spot as well. So basically it's that sort of, it's as simple, and I really enjoyed yesterday working from it, because it took all the pressure off as far as designing the card. I only had to basically just decide what paper and images I wanted to use, and it was basically done. So that's what I'm going to do this time, but I'm going to be doing it with the Eden's Garden collection paper. So now we have to choose a paper to use on the card base. Let's have a little look. So what I've been doing, or what I did with the first one, was the backing paper was sort of the more plain of the two. Just something that I wanted it to sort of just disappear into the background to a certain degree. So that one's quite nice. There, that one, I could go use that one. So it's going to have this one on top, and then a more detailed paper on this little one here, and the other side of it is quite pretty. So I think I can probably get away with using the same sheet of paper and use alternate sides. So let's see how we go. I'm going to have to bring my trimmer in, so we may lose focus again. It looks like the camera's having a little bit of trouble, probably because the last time we used it was on Zoom, and it focuses a little bit closer with Zoom. So my card base is 4 1/8 wide. So my paper is going to be 4 inches wide, and my card base is 5 3/4 long. So my paper is going to be what's that? Take 1/8 of an inch off, 5 5/8. So that's just that there. Quite like this. This is obviously soft succulent, the main colour of that little piece of paper, but it's quite nice. At least it sort of stands out from the Evening Evergreen a bit. So that's going to sit basically just on there like that. So I do need another piece for our long skinny detail, which is going to sit over there slightly to the left, and I'm going to just flip it over and use this pretty side here. So my width there is 2 3/8. So my paper is going to be 2 1/4 wide. And again, it's going to be 5 5/8 long. Okay. So that one's going to pop on there and sit on that. So for the cross piece, we've got this little piece here. That's 4 1/8 wide, and I think it's about 2 1/8 deep. Oh, Jan's on. Hi, Jan. Everybody shout out to Jan. She's not very well at the moment. Hope you're feeling okay, Jan. Feeling a little bit of time watching today. So that's going to pop across that way. And so what I did with all the other designs the other day, I basically just made that look a little bit different by popping it through an embossing folder. And I think I might do the same today. But I've got this is from the dies, this cute little, I can't see there, this cute little edge die with all its little bubbles and baubles and things. That's straight from the die set. So I've cut that as a highlight, and I thought what I'd do is pop it in and under there. But as I say, I'm sort of playing it by ear to see how it looks. I think that looks quite nice. So we might well do that. But anyway, we'll layer up first, and hopefully inspiration will strike as we go. I'm sort of half watching my comments as I go. Unfortunately, usually when I'm not quite as organised as I could be, I tend to not watch but I did see one pop up there from, is it Elsie? Elsie Carty, new demonstrator and watching videos to learn new things. Oh, welcome to the family, Elsie. Yeah, it's definitely a lovely, crafty family, so welcome. And anyone else who likes the idea of joining Elsie's not my team, but joining Stamping Up, you'd be most welcome in my little chatty stampers team. Just yell out. Apart from the fact that you get a great discount every time you buy, you also get to join my little chatty stampers, and we have a lovely little group that supports each other. And I just saw Elizabeth. Elizabeth's part of my group. She just jumped on. Hey, Elizabeth. Okay, so this one is going to sit, and it's just going to be straight glued, just vertically on the front of our card like that. And that's shaping up nice already. I'll just bring it a little bit closer so you can see, and that's got the beautiful gold there as well. Okay, so, okay, thoughts. Let's keep thinking. I'm thinking as I'm doing here, thinking on my feet. So if I pop that across like that, and I die cut that, that's quite thick and quite heavy. I'm not sure I quite like that as much as I thought I would. Okay, so I wonder if I swapped out. We could use our beautiful cotton paper instead, couldn't we? So what if I went cotton paper? It's like using tissue paper. I don't know how I'm going to go with this. Bear with me. If I put the cotton paper onto the green. What I said, it basically, what's the word, tramp a little bit. I quite like that, and it's got this beautiful sort of, as I said, tissue paper effect. It's quite different, and everything's having terrible trouble with the camera today. I must apologise. Anyway, I might just wait for a minute until it stops at my pad. Oh, now everything's died. If you could comment that you can still see, guys, that would be great, because my iPad's just died, but I think it's because it's basically run out of juice. So anyway, I might just close that off and then start it again. Anyway, so yes, if you're still hearing me, we might just use our cotton paper on that, just up that a bit. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see me. Yeah, the sound is intermittent. Yeah, it could be. I think it's my internet. I think somebody in the kitchen is using the microwave. Apologies for that. If you can follow with me, I can't do much about it. I've got my headset on and it's working as it usually does. But anyway, we'll see how we go. We'll plow on. Today might be one of those videos that just never sees the light of day after I finish recording it. Okay, so I'm going to just cut this one. So as I said, that piece there is 2 1/8 wide. So I'm going to go 2 inches wide on the paper. I have no idea how this is going to cut. So fingers crossed. Hopefully my blade is sharp enough. Yep, that was okay. And it's got to be 4 inches wide, 4 inches long. There we go. This is very interesting. I'm going to be interested to see how the adhesives go with this as well. So we're going to pop that on there, just like that. Now I don't know if I need this or not. If I bring this in and up and under, just like that, we'll see. Maybe some ribbon as well. Thinking as I'm going, which one would we use? Probably the evening evergreen, I'd say. I'll just cut myself a length of that. And we'll see if we can integrate that into the design as well. So we've got that there. So if I pop that across there, And I can pop a little bow over here to the left, which is going to be out of the way of everything. Yep, let's go there. Let's see how we go anyway. Okay, so let's do this one. Pop this on here. So it's more over to the left-hand side than the right, and it fits top and bottom, so that's good. Okay, so then I'm going to add our tissue paper. Let's see how we go with glue. I'm a bit nervous about this. Maybe not glue. Maybe I'll bring in some double-sided tape. Where is my double-sided tape? Here. Don't know if anyone's already used this tissue paper, whether what adhesive they used. So jump on and say, I mean. So I'm just going to try some double-sided tape, just because I don't want splodgy glue, but it may well be splodgy anyway. Let's see. It's not like, it's thicker than vellum. You can see it's thicker than vellum, but vellum always worries me with what adhesive to use as well. So let's see. It's just so, I have to bring in something a little pointy. Where's my little pointy thing? Okay. I like these little pre-releases from the next catalogue. It sort of gives you an idea of what sort of direction they're taking, what sort of trends they're following for the next year. So it sort of gives you a bit of an idea what's coming, which is really quite nice. Yep, no, that's fine. I can't see that double-sided tape through that at all. So probably glue would have been good too, but the double-sided tape seems to have worked. So this is going to pop across that way. Oh, yeah, no, I'm liking that. I'm liking that a lot. Sorry, she says, sort of beating my own drum there, aren't I? So I don't know whether I need, you guys tell me whether you think I need that little detail at the bottom or not. I'm going to wait a couple of minutes or a couple of seconds to see what catches up, and we'll see. What do you think? I need that little extra design at the bottom. It's quite pretty, but I'll see how it goes. So what I do need and what I haven't cut is a square for the square detail in our little sketch. And for that, I've been a bit naughty, and I've been using the retired, layered squares. And it was the saddest day when they got rid of the layered squares, to be honest. We were hoping that we'd get a substitute, but we haven't had a replacement for it yet. Of course, if you know what dimensions in squares you want, you can just cut them, of course. But I have been using my squares. Now I've got to remember which sizes I was using. So Jenny, I saw Jenny C saying go for it. Is that saying yes, use our little extra? Well, I suppose I am showcasing the collection, so I probably should use as many pieces of it as I possibly can. So I'm going to use that little frame. It's got quite a large backing on it, but it's all right. I'll just use some tape on it. And I do have another card lined up for after this if you guys want to hang around. Anyone who had a sweep on how long I would last without doing a bookbind card, if you picked today in the sweep, you will be a winner, because I'm going to do a bookbind card with this collection, just because I thought of a nice little use for one of the dies, and I thought it would be perfect on a bookbind type card, type cut. So yes, didn't last very long. Didn't even last to the end of the year, to be honest, did I? Probably didn't even last a week, really, when you think about it. And anyway, so there, that's my little detail bit at the front. So now I've got my layered square, so I'm going to do one in the evening evergreen and one in white, and I just make sure I've got the right ones. Yep, that's quite big. I'll check my previous designs. Is that the ones I've used? Yeah, so that's the scalloped one. I'm going to actually go down one size with the square of white, just because I think you can have too much white sometimes. Yeah, I'm going to do this smaller one in white, so it's not the one that actually corresponds with the scalloped square, but it's the next size down, just so that a little bit more of the evening evergreen shows through. I wonder, is Jan still watching? I haven't seen her name pop up. How are you, Jan? Managing to get any sleep at all? So I'm just going to pop this one through my cut and emboss. I might bring my little mini out. Did I see Sharon watching? Sharon, have you used your little mini yet? And Sharon won our last quarterly draw, customer draw, and won the mini machine, mini cut and emboss machine. So a very happy face picture that she allowed me to pop up, so I was really happy about that. But yes, so as I say, for every $50 you spend with me on my online store, you get a draw in my quarterly mini cut and emboss machine. I'm going to have to stand up while I cut. Yes, you did have a very happy look on your face, Sharon. I liked that. And if that was your crafting space, I'm definitely jealous. Well, it looked like it had a cat or a dog feeding bowl there as well, so I think it was probably the kitchen. But yes, my craft space is probably 2 meters by 4. I'll get jealous of anyone who has any expanse. Hopefully once my children start leaving home, I'll be able to take over the children's domain. Let's hope, fingers crossed. Doesn't look like they're ever going to leave, to be honest, so I might be in here forever and ever. So I'm just going to pop and get a little scrap of white, which I know I've got here somewhere. I know I've got some white somewhere. Here we are. Oh, it's a bit big. I have to cut that down. So I'm just going to pop a little white one through. I'm going to use the Eden's Garden Gems, or Eden's Gems, I think they're called. I have to have a look at the packet on this as well, and they are absolutely divine. I've got my plates around the wrong way. That one should be on the bottom. Yes, absolutely divine, these little gems. If you like the greens and the bluey greens like I do, you'll love these little gems. Okay, so I've got a little square there, just big enough for a sentiment, hopefully. And pop my little baby away. Okay, so I'm going to glue this one down, the vertical or horizontal detail sheet. Just about there. Don't want it too high, but I don't want it too low since it's got that extra length. Okay. Just like that. Isn't that nice? I think that's just, I have this thing about like symmetry and squares and shapes that are regular shapes, so I really love this. So that's going to be our little highlight there. So I'm going to pop my sentiment on that little white one. Hopefully there's a sentiment there that will actually fit. And then I'm going to put some sort of detail, and I've sort of got half an idea of what little detail. You see here, this little spray of berries and leaves and things that we've got here. There's no die to match it, but what I thought I might do, see how new it is, I haven't even opened it. I might stamp it and then fussy cut it. So you can see, as I say, I haven't even got this out of the bag. So if you ever wonder with Stampin' Up stamps, how do you get this good way to get the stickers on if you're newish, like our friend Elsie, I assume you've got some Stampin' Up stamps at home. Basically, take the backing off your stamp. Don't forget the ribbon. Oh, I already have, Vicky. I already have forgotten the ribbon. Oh, well, I think there's going to be enough going on. God, I'm terrible with ribbon. And you basically get you take the open the door of the little little backing there, and have it open to the world like that. And then you align it up with the shape of the stamp. push the stamp down into the spot that's left and you rip it away. So I know I've had a couple of people ask me how to do that. So that's the way you get your stamps ready to go on your blocks. And this is a really sticky medium on the back here. I think a previous incarnation of our stamps had a few issues with them not being sticky long term, and I have not had such issues with these new design stamps. It's been a while now, but yeah, so they keep on keeping on, so to speak. So I'm going to grab some white, and I think I'm going to do this in the evening evergreen. I think we'll have a look. This is the first time I've seen this stamp, so, you know, it's a bit exciting. It's one of the distinctive stamps, which means it'll have, excuse me, lights and darks in the same stamp. To be honest, I'm not even sure that I'm going to be able to fussy cut it. Give it a couple of goes. Sometimes stamps take a few times to show all their glory. So you can see even just from that first stamp that it has all the lights and the darks in the one stamp. Okay, that's the way that one looks. Okay, I might get used to that. It's quite nice, but anyway, so what I'm thinking is if I fussy cut it, and again, we're working it out as we go along. I may not like it as much as I thought I did, but anyway, let's see how we go. So I'm just going to fussy cut it. And in my brain, I'm thinking of an alternative. Anyone think of an alternative that we can put on here if we don't like this? I do have something sorted, so worked out for my bookbind card, but I might have to change tack and use it on here instead. So sometimes things just will not fussy cut. You just exclude them. Like those, there's some little dots there that obviously are meant to be with the rest of the design, but I can't fussy cut dots, so I'm leaving it, just excluding them from it. Now, fussy cutting, you need, and I'm not saying necessarily Stampin' Up scissors or paper clips, but for fussy cutting you need good, sharp, fine-ish scissors. No point trying to use the same ones that you, use in the kitchen or use to cut the kids' hair or anything. You need good specialist scissors. I have a couple of pairs that I like, a couple of non-SU pairs that I like, to be honest, but my SU ones are awesome as well. Bit of speed fussy cutting here. Go and make yourselves a cup of coffee or something. It's a good thing the shapes aren't too bad if you exclude some of the dots and things. The overall leafy shapes and berry shapes, they're nice and sweeping, so there's not too much fussiness involved. I might cut my losses and just go straight from that berry to the leaf. We'll see how that goes. I don't know if anyone who's I've got a couple of Hobart watchers watching. Did you hear the icebreaker come in this morning? It was quite unusual. We don't hear boats coming into Hobart. We used to hear what's the word? Cruise ships all the time. But since the virus, obviously nobody's taking cruises. So this morning we had a boat horn sound up the river, and it was our new icebreaker, which unfortunately was supposed to have a whole lot of, anyone who doesn't know Hobart, we're a base for the Antarctic expeditions. So they leave from here. I think some leave from South America as well, but we have obviously some that leave from here. And yeah, so we've got a new icebreaker, which I assume will go down there this summer to do the exploration and whatever else is they do down there. So bright, nice bright red. What red would we call it, people? Probably Poppy Parade. Yeah, nice big Poppy Parade icebreaker sort of rolled into the river this morning. So I'm going to use Sending Hugs on this sentiment box because I think it's the right size and it's a pretty sentiment. So often we say sending hugs to people. It sort of covers a multitude of occasions. I think I said it to somebody this morning even. So I'm going to use that one, and then I'm going to do it in my evening evergreen just to keep the theme going. So I'll pop that on there. I'm going to pop it as much to the top right hand corner. Oh, golly, had a bit of an issue, so I'll turn that sideways. Yep. So I'll go Sending Hugs. It's a tricky one to get straight, this one. It's got so many curvy edges. Ah, that one was just not meant to be. I might cut myself another one. Oh dear. Some mornings you should stay in bed, I think. I'm just going to cut another one of those little boxes. That was the piece of paper I was going to use for the inside of my card. I'll take it down there, right down that end. Okay, take two. Should have had these cut before, shouldn't I? And then I wouldn't have to be mucking around. Although there's no guarantee that I would have stamped it properly. I have seen some people, when you do have stamps that do that, sometimes they've got a bit of excess rubber around the outside and it tends to pick up the ink. And obviously I did a little bit too much wobbling on there and I shouldn't have, and I got too much ink around the edge. So yes, this one is one of those stamps. I have seen people cut the rubber off if they have one that does that habitually. We can just come in with a wipe or something, whatever you use. Anyway, so as I would say to my class ladies, no wobbling. There you go. No jiggling. I don't know what I say. Have got any class ladies on? No wobbling, I think I say. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to pop this with glue onto our sentiment box. I've got so much stuff on my desk now, I've lost my glue. Glue, there you are. Oh, my iPad just died completely, guys, so please, if I miss the comments, please just forgive me. So I'm going to pop this onto my square. Probably have left that square a little bit too big. I think I'm seeing a bit too much of the evening evergreen, but that's okay for this one. And I'm going to pop that on there. So that's quite pretty all by itself, isn't it, really? I'll scroll down so I can watch these messages. Apologies, guys. And then I'm going to pop this little fussy cut one that we've made. I'm going to pop that on there just as a bit of extra detail. Yeah, I quite like that. I quite like that a lot. Well, quite like that a lot. I like that a lot. Okay, so I'm going to pop my little sentiment square on some dimensionals. I don't know what's happening with my fingers and dimensionals at the moment. They seem to want to stick to the backing more than they want to come off. Whether they've done something with the adhesive lately. They tend to be a bit stubborn. It could just be my big lumpy fingers, but anyway. Okay, so we'll put our Sending Hugs on. I really like that cotton paper. That's really nice. There we are. Then I'm going to bring in our little berries. Which angle am I going to have that at? Probably there. So I'm going to put some glue on there where it sort of sticks to the sentiment box, and I'm going to have to put some dimensionals around it to keep it up. But I'll put the glue on first, just in the area where I think it's needed, just like that. So I'm sort of got it hugging our sentiment in a way, sort of coming up and around the sentiment. Okay, And I'll grab my dimensionals and my little pointy thing. I might use my take your pick tool, actually is better for this. I'm going to grab some dimensionals and put them up and under where I want them on the design, just to stop it from falling flat. Just a couple. I find it easier to do it this way because otherwise I can't visualize where I want them, so I have to actually see it in place to actually know where I want them. Oh, that one's, oh well, there we are. Okay, so how's that? I quite like that little stamp now. I'm quite used to it. I think it would be great if I could have worked out how to make the berries red. Maybe if I stamped it again in cherry cobbler or something and then cut them out and put them over the top, that would be nice. But that's sort of, this is almost like a monochromatic card, isn't it? Sort of got the basics with all the greens happening. Now, the highlight, and as I kept promising you, these gems, look at them. They're like diamonds. They're like, well, green diamonds. What are green? Oh, what are the green gems? I don't know. Anyway, they're like them. They're glorious. They're lovely. Anyway, so I'm going to pop those on as well. Okay. I want to know what. Let's have a look. So let's put some of these around. I love these sort of like little eye-shaped ones, but I'm going to stick to the round ones at the moment and pop those around. There we are. Okay, so there is my sketch challenge card, the one with the new products. How's that? I like that one. I might slip that one into my sketch challenge as well, sketch card swap. So if one of my card swap ladies gets this one, you'll be able to say it's famous. You saw it on YouTube or your Facebook first. There we are. So obviously I'll cut myself a panel of basic white and I'll pop it inside, and I may well do some stamping there as well. But there you go. So have a look at those gems. I don't know if you can see them. They're very, very glittery. Anyway, so that's card number 1. Okay, so we'll leave that one and we'll go to card number 2. I might do some tidying up. Just bear with me because card number 2 is going to be a disaster if I leave it like it is at the moment. I haven't even cut stuff for card number 2 yet. So while I'm tidying up, I will have a look at my comments. Were we talking about somebody with their replays? Don't forget the ribbon. That's what I saw. It's like going back to school. There are a lot of demonstrators. Was that Judy? No, Karen said, yeah, there are definitely a lot. You could spend your whole life just watching other demonstrators, couldn't you, really? Basically, if you wanted to. Somebody said to me, do I watch anyone else? I do watch a few. I don't watch a lot. I find that if I spend all my time watching other demonstrators, you'd never actually get anything done. But it's lovely while you're in the learning phase, so to speak. So let me just get this out of the way. So what I'm going to do with the second card, I might keep the ribbon because we might actually remember to use it this time. With the second card, I'm going to do, as I mentioned, a bookbind fold, which is one of my favourites that I just can't quite give up. It's like an addiction. It seems like every new bundle gets a bookbinding card. But they are wonderful for highlighting designer series paper and ribbon and all the things that usually come together when they introduce a new collection. So let's have a look. Let me have a think. I'm thinking while I'm cleaning because I haven't designed this one yet, but then I hopefully thought I probably wouldn't need to since I've made so many, but let's see how we go. I want to use a different paper. Let's use one of the other papers from the pack, something with a nice back and front. I do come back to this one quite a lot, so maybe we'll use this one. I think this is lovely. Let's use this one. Okay, so I'm going to do my basic card in So obviously, again, it's evening evergreen and, oh, I've tried on my own microphone, evening evergreen and soft succulents. I'm just grabbing fresh pieces of that. Excuse me, I have to cut this one, so you'll be able to watch me cut this one. Hopefully it'll go okay. As I said, this could be one of those videos that never quite makes it to the replay stage. So we've got our two colours there, and you can see that they go just beautifully with that particular designer series paper. So a bookbind card. I'm going to cut stand up because I usually stand up while I'm cutting. Obviously, I need the blood to go to my feet when I'm cutting. So for a bookbinding card, you need a 4 1/8 inch piece of cardstock, and you might as well just cut the whole A4. Then what we do is we cut it to 11 inches long. There we are. So just trimming a tiny touch off the end. Sorry, I'll bring that up a little bit more. And then you can score it. Now we score it at 5 1/2, which is basically half the way along. Don't get your blades mixed up or you'll end up with a horrible, horrible mess. And then again at 4. There we go. So you end up with a card that's basically a landscape card, but it's got this little fold here, which is where we seal it up and make it look like a book with its spine. Actually, I've made it 4 1/8. It should actually be 4. Apologies. So take that little bit off so it's 4 wide. So then you end up with a square opening here. So what we're also going to need, and while I'm standing up and got my cutter out, we're going to need a 3 3/4, 3 1/8, 3 3/4 square of your contrast colour, and in this case it's soft succulent. So that's going to go there. Actually, get 2 of them because then I'll put one on the inside as well, just to carry the theme on the inside. And then because this little opening here, this little spine is 1 1/2, you need a 1 1/2, 1 1/4 wide of the soft succulent as well. And that's going to pop in that little gap there as well. Okay, so now we'll bring in our paper. So again, you basically follow it going down another 1/8 of an inch. So that's 3 3/4 down to 3 5/8. And you want a 3 5/8 square. Don't panic about not knowing the measurements. I've got multiple videos with this design, so I'm sure you could find one somewhere. 3 1 1/4 to 1 1/8. So this piece, we're going to use the alternate side, the back of it, and that's going to go on that little bit there just to be different. You could put that same bit on front and back. If you think about it there, you could put that the same, but I tend to flip it and have the contrast on that side. Okay, so while I've got my trimmer out, we're going to need a little white panel for the inside. What have I got left over here that's not grotty? Well, this one will do. So we need, what was it, 3 5/8. Phew, just going to make that. With some leftovers. Very much just going to make that. So that piece is going to pop what in there like that. Nope, dropped it. Dropped it. Okay, so that's our paper cut, I think. I'm going to pop something on the front there, which is what I've been dying to show you, what I did before I came on air, but we'll get to that in a minute. So let's pop this together and not forget the ribbon this time. Okay, so we've got that. We might do the ribbon first, since I've mentioned it to myself. Oh no, yeah, we might do this side for the little spine first, so I don't forget it. So we've got our paper, and I'm going to use the sort of the less decorative side on there, like that. Now be a little bit careful when you're using the other side of gold embossed papers. They tend to, like, because the gold is on the bottom, and it tends to be a little bit slipperier than just normal paper, obviously, because it's a gold foil emboss, and so it sometimes takes a little bit longer to set in place. So I'm going to pop this on our little spine. There's a dimensional backing there. I don't know about you guys, but I have found dimensional backings in the most bizarre places at my house. Places that I don't think I'd even gone, these backings end up. It's just crazy. You think, how did it end up there? The back of the garden, under the apple tree. Weird places. So obviously they get everywhere. Okay, so we've got our little spine there. If you guys have found dimensional backings in weird and wonderful places, please let me know. Yes, I just don't know where they end up, in the dog's fur, the dog's food, in other things that the dog does in the garden. I found it in there. That's a bit raunchy not raunchy, bit gross for a Saturday morning, but anyway, they've been there. I suppose it's not really that surprising, given that the dog sits here at my feet sometimes while I'm crafting. Poor love. Okay, so there we are. Just looking outside to the weather, it's gone completely yucky. So I don't think the Antarctic icebreaker has to go very far for Antarctic weather today. They're probably feeling quite at home. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to pop that ribbon across the back of my spine of my little card here, and then I can seal it up. So basically I've got double-sided tape. Sorry, I've been listening to the weather while I should have been telling you what I'm doing. I've got double-sided tape in that little spine area that we talked about. I've looped the ribbon around and caught it into double-sided tape, and now I'm just firming it closed. So that gives us our little spine part for our bookbind card. And there's my ribbon. There you go, Vicky. I didn't forget it this time. Okay, so what we're going to do is layer up the right-hand side, and then I can bring in what I've been dying to show you all morning. So nice when there's a new collection and you work something out. You think you're the first person to ever work something out. So today, I think I'm the first person I've seen doing this little special thing with the dies. Okay, so we've got our soft succulent with our designer series paper. I don't know if you guys can hear that. The rain is coming down so hard on my window. It sounds like it's really loud. Okay, so we've got that there. So that's really sweet, isn't it? Actually, I think I could have liked a darker colour on that side. But anyway, now I see it, but that's okay. I can live with that. The ribbon's going to cover it over to a certain degree. I might as well pop that in as well. So a white layer onto the extra soft succulent, and then into the inside. I saw someone on Pinterest who'd turned this fold of card into a corner fold. It actually put a folding corner inside. It looked really good. I couldn't quite work out what the function of it was. Sort of a bit like that. Things need to make sense. This would seem to be not something that you'd actually see because it was inside. Anyway, I might give it a go and see how I feel. Okay, so there's the inside done. So that's basically your bookbind card. They're done, basically. It's just a matter of making it prettier now. So these dies, we haven't really given the dies much of a look at. The dies have nothing really that goes with the stamp set, which sometimes is a bit disappointing, but it's got some new frames. Oh, it's got some new frames. It's got this big one here. Now, when you see this in the publicity shots, this big frame here, I'll bring it nice and close. It's just a series of leaves and berries and things like that one we used on the first card, that little highlight one. But it goes in this sort of rectangular, round rectangular shape. So this one here, if you cut, I think they suggest you cut 6 of them, you can layer them on each other and turn that into quite a large wreath. So I've done a couple here. It's not something that I would do very often because it does use quite a lot of cardstock. So I've just grabbed some scraps of that I had in my scrap box. So I don't know what colours they are. I think that's just jade, and I think that one would be mint macaron. So if you cut 6 of these and layer them up like this, you can see that if you layer, you're going to get a wreath. And it makes sense, to be honest, because I wondered, I'll bring the black dark in so you can see, I wondered how we were going to get to Christmas without a wreath. So you can imagine colours, maybe a bit of gold, 6 of them is quite a dense wreath. You could probably get away with another 2 or 3, or no, 1 or 2 on top of that to make it into a solid wreath. That is really big though. That's far too big for a normal card, I think. Personally, that's my view. It's obviously for home decor and stuff like that. So that's our wreath for this year. I did wonder, there is another little sort of frame here. It's just got, it's berries only. There's no leaves there. It's just all berries, I think. And I wondered to myself as I was looking at it, could we make a wreath from that, a smaller one that we could fit onto a card? So again, I cut myself some scraps, same colours as I used before, and if you layer them the same way as I layered those big ones, it's quite a, there's 4 there, it's quite a holy wreath, you know what I mean. It's got holes in it, not particularly holy, but it's got holes in it. But that's the start of something that's the right size for a card, or usable on a card. So this morning, before I came on, and while I was a few minutes late, was that I started playing with the colours. Now I'll get rid of the green because this has got the green in it. Started playing with the colours, and I added a little bit of gold foil as well. So what I've done is I've cut 2 of this dye in Evening Evergreen, of course, and Soft Succulent, of course, and 2 from a gold foil. Okay, so I've started layering them up. So at the moment I've got an Evening Evergreen and a Soft Succulent, and then 2 gold on top, because I didn't want the gold to be, I just wanted it to be in the background a little bit. And then I've got 2 more to add. So what I'm going to do is sort of stagger them around each other so they're not exactly the same angle, and I'm just going to add, and I've just sort of layered them up. So I'm just going to add these 2 more, just slightly off angle from each other, so no point sort of covering it over so you don't see it. And that is a nice sized little wreath, if you can see that there. Probably you could add another couple if you wanted it sort of more solid, but you know, that's what I have come up with. So what you need to do is work out where you're going to have it and just put some touches of glue. Actually, I might put the touches of glue on the outside. So just touches of glue on the corners. I'm just going to do the corners. And then work out where you want it and pop it down. The first 2 were trickier because obviously you didn't have anything to pop it onto, but you can layer it up and pop the glue where it's going to adhere to something underneath it. Might have been best to use my silicone mat, I think, because it's sticking. I'm going to pop this last one on top. So as I say, I wanted the gold, but I didn't want the gold to be right at the top. Or, you know, totally overbearing. So I think that is quite nice. It's sort of quite stylized, but it is definitely a wreath. If you were looking for a wreath out of this year's products. I don't think there is another wreath. Somebody might tell me I'm completely wrong, but I haven't got one. Anyway, let's pop it that way. Okay, so what I've done at the back is just reinforced it with some double-sided tape, and I have just left the backings on the double-sided tape just so it doesn't fall apart. And this wreath is not only smaller, but it uses a lot less cardstock, because the other one you probably would have, to cut all of the ones that you needed, you probably would have used several sheets of cardstock to do it. Okay, so there we are. That's my little wreath, and that's what I was going to bring to the front of my card here. So what I think I need is, behind it, what I think I need is a circle. Oh, let me have a look. What have I got? As I say, I'm sort of making this one is definitely being made as I go. So if I put no, I think a circle's too stark. I might just leave it actually. When I was going to put the sentiment across the middle, like yeah, I might just leave it on that. Oh, what's this? What is this? There's something stuck to it. Some sort of cotton. I don't sew. But anyway, here we go. So that's going to go there. What I've also cut, and this uses the tiny, 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 tiny little flowers from the Merriest Frames set, is I've cut 3 of the tiniest little poinsettias. They're 2 dies that I've never used before because they were so fiddly. And I've used the beautiful red velvet paper to cut those. So I was going to pop those around there as well. So you can see that. Definitely needs something there to highlight it. Maybe you picked the bad paper to actually put this on. But anyway, let's see how we go. Let's see. Let's see. Let me have a think. Did I like that? No. What if I put some soft succulent behind it rather than white? It might be a little bit less stark. Here's some soft succulent. Just put it on a circle. Yeah, I think that's going to work. So I'm going to just cut myself a little circle from the layered circles. If I can find my dies here. Cut myself a little circle from the soft succulent, and then back my little wreath will sort of stick out better or stand out better. Let's do that. So what circle do I want? A little bit bigger than that. Maybe this is too big. No, I think that one's the right one. So I'm going to cut that with out of soft succulent. Yep, that's a nice piece of scrap. I'll do it over here on my big machine. I won't bring it over. Just bear with me for a second. Hope I'm not putting you off staying with me. I'm very interested to see how this card turns out, so hopefully you are too. I'm doing more and more of these don't quite know where I'm going cards at the moment. Some people find that a little bit annoying. Okay, so there we are. Yep, no, that's better. You guys think that's better? I think that's better. It actually doesn't disappear so much into the background. So I'm going to, now I've got all these pieces of double-sided tape on the back, I might as well use them to actually stick it to the circle. Okay. That'll do. I think that one will be slightly off the edge. So I'll centre that as well as I can through there. and firm that down. There we are. That looks very similar to some wreaths that I did last year. Okay, so there is our wreath. It's a bit messy, but it's definitely wreathish. Anyway, so I'm going to pop that onto the front of my card. I might glue that. And then I'll bring in our little flowers, our little poinsettias. So there are some relatively large gaps in there, so that's what I thought I would cover that with our little poinsettias. I think they will lift the colour quite nicely. Yeah. I might need another one. I'm going to put one down here. I think I probably need one up here. I might cut another one. Unless I put the sentiment there. But anyway, let's have a look. Let's see how we go. How's that? I don't know you guys are getting the full effect of that, to be honest. I don't think the camera's picking it up quite as pretty as it actually is. I might cut another poinsettia or two. So there's my merriest frames. Let's see if I've got my scraps of red velvet. I just did a red velvet class, so I've got lots of little scraps of red velvet all over the place, just big enough for two little flowers. Because it's such lovely stuff, I haven't had the heart to throw it out, so I'm actually getting a little bit of use out of it, just out of the leftovers. I'm just going to pop that through. And I have our two little flowers, two little layers of one flower. Come on. There we are. So I'll just glue those together. Just sort of line them up so that they're not, so they don't overlap at all, so you can see both of them at the same time. Okay, and put the other one up here. Okay. Right. Okay, so there we've got some little flowers on our wreath. Quite cute. Now, for the sentiment inside, what I thought I might do, oh, I don't forget my ribbon. I'm going to tie this ribbon here on the side. Gold would have been nice too, now I think about it. A bit of gold ribbon instead of the evening evergreen. This is always the bit that gets me. Gotcha. There we are. A little bit of ribbon there. A little bow. Scissors need a little bit of sharpening. Okay, there, so we are. Now, sentiment. Let's see what we have for sentiments. Obviously, this is going to be a Christmas card, so probably nothing in Eden's garden is particularly appropriate. Let's have a look. I've got lots and lots of Christmas cards to choose from. Let's have a look. Which one will we use? Trouble is I haven't had many of them out today. What have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Merriest Moments. What have we got there? in Merriest Moments we have this nice Season's Greetings, which is probably just about right. Just for across the front there like that is what I wanted to do. Okay, so let's do that. So I'll grab a block. I'm going to pop it in the Evening Evergreen as well, since that's the one I've got out somewhere here. Here it is. I'll sit down again because I think I just bumped my camera. Okay, so Season's Greeting. This one, as I say, is from the Merriest Moments, which makes sense. It's good because I've used that for the little poinsettias as well. Just on some white. That's lovely. Then what I thought I'd do is keep it quite long and quite thin. It's a bit of a grotty piece of paper, cardstock there. Yeah, just cut that. I think that must be what, about 1/2 inch wide, something like that. And sort of put it across the centre of our, I'm going to cover over that one little poinsettia a tiny bit, pop it across the centre of our wreath like that, with some bannered ends. So I'll get my little banner. I'll just use my tailored punch because I've got it handy. Just banner that end up like that and bring the same distance from the thing there. Yep, that works. And then we're going to lay that across there, just at the front, just like that. Which I might put it on dimensionals. We've got a bit of dimensional build-up happening here. If I pop it on dimensionals, it'll stand out a little bit more as well. I was thinking of trying to put a little kink in it, but I don't think it's quite long enough. And I don't think the wreath will support it with a kink in it, I don't think. I bring that up. I think it's high enough rather than having extra height, if that makes sense. So I'll just pop that on there like that. There we are. Okay, how's that? I think that worked out quite well, actually. Quite well indeed. I like that. You actually do see the wreath a little bit more with the red and the sentiment across the front. But if I was doing it again, I'd probably go for a lighter paper behind, just so it stood out a little bit more. But I quite like that paper. There we are, and then we've got inside as well. Okay, done. I wasn't sure how that one was going to work out at all. That was a bit of a work in progress. So there's our 2 cards today. We're both using the very pretty Eden's Garden, which, as I say, comes the collection, including the paper and the cotton paper, the designer series paper, the cotton paper, and the beautiful gems. Come available to customers on the 2nd of November. If you'd like to join my team, you can put it into your starter kit and get it earlier. And we've got our beautiful gems as well. I haven't put any bling on that one. I think it actually needs gold bling rather than the green, so I might pop some gold bling on there later. But there we are. So we've got our 2 cards. We've got our sketch challenge ones, which was basically vertical panels and horizontal panels with our lovely fussy cut stamp. And then we've got our bookbind. There you go, guys. Didn't last till the end of the year without another bookbinding card. And with our little wreath that I've made from the dies from the Eden's Garden as well. So there we go. Definitely probably a special occasion card, that one. It was quite fiddly, but quite effective, I think. And I might bring some little gilded gems onto those flowers before I take my picture. Okay, so thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions about any of the products you've seen, please reach out. Obviously, the video is going to be online for a fair while. I think it went well enough to make it a permanent addition. Sometimes if my disaster videos happen, I get rid of them pretty quick, but I think this one's okay. Thanks for joining me. Have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead, and take care of yourself, guys, and I'll see you again next time.